What's going on, guys? So today we are going to be talking about Lightroom and all over workflow and kind of how I get things done to get the fastest execution possible of my work. So today we're talking workflow in photos. So welcome back to the channel, guys. If you guys are new here, my name is David Lee. I'm a photographer and cinematographer looking to help you improve your visual content through tutorials, advice, and entertain you guys with my own content. So today we're going to be talking about workflow, how I get things done, how my turnaround time is so quick, because I usually get photos done within a few hours, 2 to 3 hours at most, sometimes 4 or 5 if there's like a huge bundle, because usually my photos come in batches of 2,000 to 5,000, so within the 2,000 to 5,000 range, because I just take so many pictures. I'm going to be talking about how I get these thousands and thousands and thousands of raw images all the way down to the finished product of maybe 100 to 200 photos and still be able to save so much space on my computer. I'm going to be running through my workflow with you guys and see how I get these fast turnaround times and kind of give you guys some advice on what could help out with your turnaround times and your workflows and kind of whatever resonates with you. So we're going to get started with that, but let me know in the comments below, how fast do you guys edit? Do you guys edit super quick? Do you guys really like to go in, take your time, go with all the details, check it 500 times? Or do you guys just go in and edit it, export it, and forget about it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious as to what style you guys do your editing in. Personally, I like to go through it, edit it, and then kind of keep the raws that I use, store those away, and go back in case I need to. Never really do go back to them. Anyways, let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys and do some voiceover. So first things first, you gotta make a folder for your images. So in this case, I date mine and title it with whatever I'm doing that day, whether it's a model, an event, or a company. So in this case, it's 10.22 Carlo Clemente, and then I throw in an unedited folder for all of the raw images and everything that is not edited from the jump. So just for the organization, because organization is everything. And once you're importing it, you gotta wait. You gotta wait for it all to import, and it usually takes a while because I take so many pictures, but I just wait it through, and eventually it's just finished. I just hang it on my phone or something. Alright, so now that they're on my hard drive, imported onto my computer, I drag them into Lightroom so I can import them for editing and getting ready to do the final post-processing. The first step in my post-processing is picking and choosing the best pictures to edit. So when I'm taking the photos itself, I take about 5 to 8 shots at a time, holding down the shutter. This allows me to have a wider variety of shots to pick from. So if a pose looks better with the head tilted, the arm up, or the leg out, I have so many more options, or even if the model blinks. When I'm picking and choosing, I'm removing the repeats, blurry photos, and strictly picking the best ones that I think would be amazing to edit. So this process goes by so much faster if you know your keyboard shortcuts, whether it's the arrow keys to scroll through, or Control Z or Command Z to undo and undo your delete, or delete and backspace just to delete the photo itself. So I tend to batch delete these pictures because I know that most of them are going to look exactly the same with some super minor adjustments, and I just arrow key through them and delete them that way individually sometimes, or batch delete. Either way works. It's a lot faster than using your mouse to click through everything. This picking and choosing process took me about 31 minutes for over 1,700 photos. That's 1,700 pictures. 31 minutes. It's probably the second most longest process in my post-processing procedures. Now, once I've finished picking and choosing, it's time to get into the colors. Now, you can start any way you want, whether it's at the curves, the highlights, the shadows, doesn't matter. This is all up to you. It's whatever style you want, whatever you are aiming for. You don't need to copy me. There's nobody that can tell you this or that about the style. Just don't overdo too much, But once I finish the first picture, I do one of two things. I create a preset for that specific situation, for that specific picture, or I just copy the develop settings by pressing Command or Control C. Then I paste these settings onto the next photo with Command or Control V, only if the photos share the same situations and lighting, poses, whatever, just because I want to be able to keep a consistent flow. That way, I just have the same edit across all the photos with the same lighting, then I go back and make super micro adjustments, whether it's the exposure, the highlights, or the skin tones might be off a little bit because a cloud swung by or the sun came out. Now, some people may think that this is just being lazy, but honestly, why throw on 10 times the editing post-processing time when you can literally end up with the same beautiful edit across all the photos in the same situation? It only makes sense to save all that time for yourself and be able to have the consistent flow of images and edits and colors. Once I came across a new pose or a new spot, I go back with a new edit, a new preset made, and repeat the same thing in every situation, and it's just a repeat of the same thing, so you kind of just paste it across. It saves me so much time, and this is probably the longest process out of all of my post-processing procedures. This one took me actually 50 minutes to color everything, which makes it a lot easier to save time for myself. There's nothing wrong with copying and pasting your own edits on your own photos. I definitely recommend it. Remember, it's Control or Command C to copy the settings and Control or Command V to paste the settings on the image or the next image. Know your keyboard shortcuts, and if anything messes up, just press Control or Command Z because that's the undo one and it's your best friend. If you're going through your photos and coloring and you find a photo that you don't like, you can always delete it, and by pressing backspace or delete, to simply delete the photo, move on to the next one. Using your arrow keys is also something that's really helps. It's like genius. It's super awesome because it makes it so fast to be able to switch through the photos and just keep on editing. Now, once I've finished finally coloring all of my photos that I chose, I go back through and I begin to crop them. Now, when you're cropping, you can't just go through and use your arrow keys. You have to hold shift and press your arrow key to switch through, or else if you're just using your arrow key, it's gonna move the crop factor. It's gonna kind of move the space that the picture sees. So you need to hold shift when you're moving through your photos while cropping. So after I've finished cropping, I actually bring everything, or most of the shots, some shots that might need it, some healing or airbrushing, I bring them into Photoshop CC so I can remove anything. So if it's hair ties or pimples or acne or bruises or anything that they might not want in the photo, or something that might be disturbing or distracting in the photo, I remove that here in Photoshop CC. Now, the best thing about it is that you can do it straight out of Lightroom straight into Photoshop. What happens is you right click and it allows you to edit straight into Photoshop, and when you save it in Photoshop, it brings it straight back to Lightroom with an edited version. The downside with that is it removes all of your developed settings, so everything you used to edit it is gone after you bring it into Photoshop CC. But once you're done with that, I think I'm pretty much done there. I might go back and airbrush a lot of photos, depends how many photos that I have, but honestly I don't really enjoy airbrushing. Airbrushing doesn't really fit my style. I don't really like having that super soft skin on the face. I kind of like this soft look with the grain and the edginess. I don't really like throwing in too much smoothing on the skin. But after that, I export all the images. This one came out with 168, so we went from about 1730 to 168 photos altogether. That's about roughly 10%, and I think that 10% is a really good amount because I usually come out with 10%. So all of this took about 1 hour and 50 minutes, 1 hour and 50 minutes. Here you can see that I'm having a little quick problem because I decided to export them all into Photoshop CC at the same time, and it kind of froze up a little bit. But I did end up exporting the photos, and then I upload them to Flickr, I upload them to Dropbox to give to the model or whoever I'm delivering the photos to, and then I save them for myself. I airdrop them myself for Instagram. So this was a quick workflow run through. I did this all within 2 hours, 1,730 photos in 2 hours with an outcome of 168 photos. No airbrushing needed. If I were to do airbrushing, I do have Photoshop shortcuts. If you guys want to see a video on that, I can do a video on that real quick. I do have a video about using Photoshop actions for your airbrushing to quicken it up, to do it in under a minute actually. So about a minute each photo, so let's say that's an extra, actually not even a minute each photo. That might take an extra hour, maybe 30 minutes even. So because not each picture needs to do any airbrushing, and sometimes it might not even be that much, I could spend a few seconds on each photo now that I have the actions. So airbrushing won't add too much time. Honestly, the coloring is still the most long process of my post-processing editing. Airbrushing is going to add like an extra 20-30 minutes. Afterwards, I take all of the RAWs that I didn't use by importing them into Lightroom, because once I import them into Lightroom, Lightroom kind of picks and chooses the ones that I've already picked, and removes them from the import because they're already imported. Then I can remove all my photos and delete them from the disk to save my hard drive space and kind of, you know, be able to keep my terabyte, because it really fills up quick when I'm doing my photo shoots. Each one is 60 gigabytes, so that's not even that many photo shoots. That won't even fit 10 photo shoots. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's really just what I go through when I edit my photos. It's the way I'm comfortable with doing it. I've been doing it for such a long time. I know that a lot of the things that I do aren't something I should, but it kind of just plays out pretty well for me, and I enjoy it. It executes fast. I get to move on to the next project, because I hate sticking with the same thing for way too long, because then it gets repetitive, it gets boring, and then I just lose interest. So I like to move through things really quick. Next project, next project, next project, next project. It really helps, and it really rejuvenates me. It doesn't keep me in the same place for too long, because I don't like being in the same place for too long when it comes to projects and work and whatnot. It starts to get irritating and boring if it does. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next video on Thursday, and I hope to see all of you there, if not your friends as well. So let your friends know. Send this video to someone who might need it to increase their workflow, to turnaround times, whatever it may be, some advice with editing. Send it to them. And I'll see you guys there. Thanks so much again, and I'll catch you later. Peace.